Welcome to another virtual race in the West Wales Karting Virtual Racing Series. Today we are at Rouens les Essarts, is the French pronunciation of it, and it's a 4.06 mile circuit, a very long circuit, 12 turns, very demanding, lots of technical corners mixed with lots of fast flowing corners as well, and we are in the vintage Aston Martin races, and we're away now on the rolling start, and it's go here, and it's a very wet start as you can see, and you've got Big Bad Wolf leading from pole position, and Crazy Stu point second, Scuderia Sam's in third. It's Rouens is up to fourth, but he's falling back through now, and look at that spray coming off. There's a lot of spray as they head down through. There's making a move there. That's Crazy Stewpot and Scuderia Sam running outside, and that's Alex CDL. He's off. He's off there on the outside of the track. And who is that? Crazy Stewpot. He flies up into the air. He goes airborne, in the words of Stuart Davis. And thankfully, that's just a hay bale he crashed into, so it's not going to cause that much damage to his Aston Martin. Not to mention the damage is turned off. Oh, and that's a spin in the background. That's Scuderia Sam and It's Rouens coming together. And there's Cherry Berry making his way through the carnage, but now he's off as well. He made contact with It's Rouens. So, and they're still battling away. There's another car off. They're aquaplaning all over the circuit. It's going to be a very long race, this is, and whoever can keep the car on the circuit, rather, there's not much dry out there, will do very well. Oh, that's Scuderia Sam, look, he's snaking everywhere. And Alex CDL's just getting through on the inside. An absolutely frantic start here, Stuart.
Yeah, pretty mental. Coming down the hills, plenty of standing water, lots of spray, difficult to see where you're going, and yeah, the hard stop at the bottom of the hill into the hairpin. It's always, you get that concertina effect, plenty of drivers trying to get into one space there.
Yeah, definitely, and these cars haven't got the strongest brakes on them. As you can see, them all snaking around looking for grip there. They haven't got the best brakes, so when you go down into that hairpin... Oh, look, that's... is that Stewpot? Who's that? Was that It's Rouens? I think both of them have come together. They're 7th and 8th now. And yeah, that stop at the bottom of the hairpin will catch a lot of people out during this race. And they're heading down the straight now, back straight, and it's a very long back straight. It's important to get a good run out of it. And this is the treacherous bit here, Stuart, I think. There's a lot of standing water on this bit.
Yeah, really got to watch out for the puddles there. Just if you just catch a wheel in one of the puddles of the standing water there, yeah, you're just going to go straight round. So yeah, not many drivers going full throttle along there. I think Big Bad Wolf was saying, yeah, you've got to give it the big spuds if you want to get down there quickest.
Yeah, and Big Bad Wolf, by the looks of it, he's got a 4-second lead after the first lap, which is incredible. Scuderia Sam makes an early pit stop. He might have aquaplaned into the pits there, I think. But Big Bad Wolf, he's definitely got his big spuds on today, and he's had his go faster brew, and he is absolutely dominating proceedings here in the opening lap. And Alex CDL is chasing him. He's still 4 seconds back. And we're looking at Stuart Davis now in his Aston Martin. He is down in 4th. He's chasing Cherry Berry and catching him. And there's the Big Bad Wolf, our leader, and he's going into that hairpin that we were talking about. That's oh so tricky to get around. And it's not just the braking; it's actually getting on the power as well. In first or second gear, coming out of that corner, you want to upshift, of course, don't you, Stuart, to try and not break traction. As yourself, as you're doing now, Stuart. Oh, who's that up? Is that Cherry Berry?
Yeah, Cherry Berry up on the grass there.
Yeah, Cherry Berry's snaking all the way around. And Stuart, you're catching him here, look.
Yeah, can't see too much. There's a big wall of spray more than being able to see the car. But yeah, snaking all over the place. You've got to give him a wide berth coming up behind him. You're not sure where he is.
How do you give another car a wide berth on a circuit like this, which is so narrow, and those curbs as well? You just don't want to touch them, do you?
No, to be honest with you, it's more the cars than obviously the circuit's very demanding. But in these cars, I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to drive the real thing back in the 50s. I think this car debuted in 1955 Le Mans, if I remember rightly, and yeah, it was driven by Sir Stirling Moss, Jack Brabham, the late Jim Clark, and yeah, I personally really wouldn't want to push this. I think it was the first sports car as well to win the Le Mans series, as well as it was either Formula One or another big event as well. So yeah, very successful car, but very, very tricky to drive. You've got to take it very steady, and yeah, really got to give each other space. But in another one of the Big Bad Wolf's favourite phrases, I think, said this car's got more roll in it than a Welsh bakery. So yeah, it's quite difficult to give the space needed.
Yeah, and like Cherryberry put it as well, it's like a boat to drive, or like a bus, I think he said, actually, like a bus to drive.
Yeah, you could do with a boat at the moment, I think.
Yeah, a boat would be actually quicker at this rate, I think. And also, the very hard to drive, but the smoother you are, the more it will reward you. It's not like the touring cars that we were racing in, where you can chuck them around and get that back end hanging out. If you do that in these cars, they're going to bite you hard, aren't they?
Yeah, you got to be reasonably steady. Make sure to take your time. Is this Scuderia Sam making the move here? Yeah, around the outside. I think that was around the outside of Unfixed Throne there. So making his way back up through the field after his early pit stop.
Yeah, and we'll see how he gets on. He did well in the dry here in qualifying, but there was a couple of drivers that lost connection, so it was a randomised grid in the end. But this is a completely different ball game here. It's definitely a lot different from the dry conditions. As you can see, all the spray being kicked up there from the leader. Oh, no, he's not the leader, actually. I think we missed it, Stu. But look, he is now second. He's 7 seconds off. And Alex CDL is the new leader.
Yeah, Alex.
Incredible.
He was very strong through qualifying and practice as well. I think he was his second fastest car in practice behind Scuderia Sam, if I remember rightly.
Indeed, yeah, and he is absolutely flying as well in these wet conditions. And this race is going to be very long, as we said, and it's going to be run overnight too. And we'll see how long these wet conditions persist for, whether it will dry up or not, and whether that will play to the strengths of different drivers. Of course, all the setups are neutralised and not allowed to make any setup changes. Just have to make that one mandatory pit stop at some stage, which we've already seen from a couple of drivers. But what is it like, Stu? Obviously, you've got a mix here of drivers with wheels set up and the pedals, and other drivers with just the controller. And how does that affect it in these conditions?
I certainly would say that when it comes to steering input, you've got a lot more room to manoeuvre. You can be a lot more sensitive with the steering when it comes to using the wheel, and of course you get the force feedback as well. Plenty of feedback coming through your hands, and not so much through your backside as it would be if you were driving the real car. With the pedals as well, again, it's very, very similar to driving a real car, so you can really be quite sensitive with the controls and be as smooth as you need. Whereas with a pad and a controller, obviously you're sort of at the mercy of you've got literally just your hands working away. So you can never quite fully immerse yourself into the race as much, but at the same time you've got to work with the tools that you've got. And Unfixed Throne there, I'm not quite sure on what setup he's got, but he's I think he forgot to book his brakes in advance for that corner there.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. His brakes definitely letting him down there into that corner, or maybe he just missed his... Oh, and look, Cherryberry as well. His brakes have also let him down, because now he's in the barrier on the outside of turn 1, and this is Stuart Davis. He's going to take that position away. Stuart now up into 3rd place. He's quite a bit off the leader, Alex CDL, but he's having he's a good pace here at the moment. He's faster than the Big Bad Wolf the last time around, and now Cherryberry has got it all to do now. In 4th place, and he's going to have to repass, and there's Scuderia Sam not far behind either after his pit stop. He's actually made up some good ground after that stop, so we'll see how he gets on. And of course we can't rule out Crazy Stewpot, who was up there on the first lap, but he made that mistake, or he had it coming together, which dropped him all the way back down to 6th position. And we're on lap 4 here now. There's only 12 laps in this race, so although it seems like a short race, actually it's anything but, because of these conditions and the monstrous circuit that we're racing on. This is a great view, isn't it, Stu? Look at that spray coming up, and you can really see what we mean by the aquaplane, and especially when you hit those puddles and the rivers coming across the circuit. Yeah,
it's very, very tricky, and I think if this rain persists as well, those drivers maybe haven't pitted yet. They might be able to gain on the early stoppers. If you're unable to go full beams down the straight, obviously it's going to take you longer, and it's a very, very short pit lane here. Drivers, they're not going to be changing tyres, and I don't think they'll be taking on any fuel either, so it's literally just coming in for that one mandatory pit stop. So yeah, if you've got drivers coming down, the wetter it gets, the slower they'll be going, so those who pit a little bit later could actually get quite a big advantage here.
Yeah, that's a very good point actually, and as the track dries, of course, that will play into their hands if they pit later, like you were saying. So we'll see whether the front runners here who haven't pitted yet will be able to extend their lead over the likes of Scuderia Sam who have pitted. And there's a Big Bad Wolf going around. He's maintaining that gap, isn't he, to Alex CDL up ahead. He hasn't really, he's still about 10 seconds away. And Stuart Davis there, we see him going around now the hairpin at the back end of the long straight as he aquaplanes a bit onto the grass, but he managed to collect it all. He's keeping tabs as well, he's not falling too far back. So yeah, it's all to play for here still as they come around to complete their fourth lap.
Yeah, of course, back in the old days, 50s, 60s, well, the 50s when this car would have been run, you'd have some drivers, they'd be leading race, you're talking minutes between each car. So, if these guys can... Oh, we've got Big Bad Wolf pitting.
Big Bad Wolf is in the pits, he's in the pit lane and he's trundling down now at this very short pit lane, as Stuart was saying. And he's having his virtual crew service his car. He's going to get out and have another go faster brew, I'd imagine, whilst they're doing that. And but there's no time, the kettle hasn't even boiled and he's away again. And his number 32 Aston Martin, it's a big crash, a big shunt. Cherry Berry flips over. He actually looks like he was going to come into the pit lane, as we see Stuart Davis pitting as well. Looked like he was going to come into the pit lane there, Cherry Berry, and maybe change his mind at the last minute or aquaplanes.
I don't think anything he did there was done on purpose, to be honest.
No. Oh, look, Scuderia Sam. And who else is that? Stuart Davis. They have a big coming together. What on earth is going on here?
I think
Stuart, what happened there?
I think Stuart's come out of the pit lane, gone to take the racing line, and as the night's falling, he hasn't seen Sam coming up behind him, and Sam's just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that could have been very nasty, but thankfully they're both facing the same way, the right way rather, and they're going to carry on with their race. So Scuderia Sam there, who made his pit stop early, he's fourth now, ahead of Stuart, but behind Cherry Berry, and Cherry Berry, of course, had that big crash, but he's only a second or so just up ahead. I think we'll see him in the shot now. There he is, look. So Cherry Berry hasn't made his stop, and Scuderia Sam and Stuart Davis have. So Cherry Berry's lost a lot of time with that incident. Basically a pit stop.
Yeah, pit stop's only about 10 seconds or so, give or take.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's definitely lost a fair bit of time.
And now look, this is going to be a commentator's nightmare, isn't it? Because look at this. It's going to get dark, it's going to get a bit foggy maybe, and it's still a lot of spray. How on earth are we going to see anything, and how on earth did these two not see each other, and they're absolutely all over the place. As they come in, and Scuderia Sam and Stuart Davis side by side now, and he just managed to hold that, but they're all coming together here.
Yeah, I think that was Cherry Berry snaking around, aquaplaning again, that sort of kicked that all off. There's Sam struggling to keep traction there.
These cars will spin their wheels all the way up to fifth, won't they?
Oh, in these conditions, definitely. Even, Stuart Davis gone invisible there. Just flashing his way through. I think he's, there's an old story, sort of even before the time of these cars, so you're talking 1930s. You've got the great Tazio Nuvolari. There's sort of an urban... Oh, off they go, and Sam's off as well.
Oh, both off.
But yes, back in the 1930s, during sort of these long races like this, the urban legend is Tazio Nuvolari. He actually followed for the last few miles of a race his main rival. Oh, Cherry Berry's forgotten to book his brakes in advance.
Oh, and he takes out Scuderia Sam as they come down to the hairpin in the last corner, and now it's going to be an absolute... They're going to just squirm their way over the puddles here, and... Sorry. It's hilarious to watch. It's...
What on earth?
I don't know what's going on here.
Stuart Davis is facing the wrong way. We know that much.
Yeah. To be honest, it's just I don't think commentary works in these situations. Just watch and laugh, basically. But yeah, there's literally no grip, as you can see. I think someone must have been out there with some ice or something, just putting it across the... Because there's literally no grip whatsoever coming up that corner, is there?
No, none at all. And... no, that didn't work.
So Cherry Berry and Scuderia Sam here are embroiled in a fierce battle over fourth, and they have no grip, they have no brakes, they can't turn, they can't stop, they can't accelerate, but they're racing anyway.
I think Scuderia Sam's already down the hill and gone, to be honest.
Oh yeah, sorry Stuart, it is dark, and in my old age I didn't notice that. Apologies. But yes, so Cherry Berry, and who else is that then? That is...
I think it's Stuart Davis. It is. Yeah, he was the third car in that melee along the back straight.
There we are, and that's Crazy Stu Pot coming down the hill now. Well, trying his best too, anyway. look at the conditions. Can you imagine back in the day with no seat belts as well, racing in these cars? If they were racing in these conditions too. Insane. Alex CDL loses it, look. He is the leader. Alex CDL has absolutely lost it, the control of the car. And a Big Bad Wolf is going to come down in the straight where he's lost it too. So he's going to lose a lot of time in this section of the circuit.
Yeah, Big Bad Wolf kicking the back end out there as well. But to get back to this, this story of Nuvolari, he, in conditions not too dissimilar to this, he was following his long-time rival, another Italian driver. And as far as I'm aware, for the last 2.5 miles of the race, for no other reason than to be able to jump out of his opponent at the last minute, he actually followed him at average speeds of maybe 90 miles an hour with his headlights off, and then waited until sort of the last half a mile to turn the headlights on, shock his opponent, and then just past through to take the win. So,
that is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, if you he's the ultimate driver's driver. If you fancy reading some serious craziness, how much of it's true, how much of it isn't, no one's really sure anymore. But yeah, have a look on Tazio Nuvolari. He's absolutely fascinating character to read about.
Absolutely, and one of Enzo's favourites as well back in the day.
Yes, I think he took on the might of Mercedes at the Nürburgring and won.
I think Enzo actually called him even later on after he'd seen all Niki Lauders and everyone, that Nuvolari was the greatest driver that he'd ever seen.
Yeah, I think it's the best driver of the past, present and future. I think he was.
Yeah. Oh, it was a big shunt.
And it's Cherry
big
Berry.
shunt on the straight.
Oh,
Cherry Berry's around again. That could have been very nasty. Who was that going past? Was that Alex CDL?
I think it was Stuart Davis. I think, looking at the timing screen, he's just taken a place off him.
Look at this, just the headlights we can see here. This is Alex CDL coming down the hill. And he's in an absolutely fantastic battle going around this hairpin now with Big Bad Wolf, who's managed to catch up after that mistake we saw from Alex. So this is going to be a really fierce battle of just basically bravery and feeling of where the grip might be on the track, if there is any, and trying not to spin, trying not to make mistakes, basically, isn't it? The fewer mistakes you make, the more likely you are to win this race, rather than pushing too hard and losing control.
Yes, I mean, you can just see, I mean, the visibility is just terrible. You're sort of living on your wits. And, I don't know if there's any sea in the dark tea that Big Bad Wolf could drink. As like we say plenty of times, he does like a brew, but...
If there is any sea in the dark tea, I'm sure he'd know about it. He's basically the tea expert of the grid, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
I'm surprised he hasn't got tea sponsors on his car, if I'm honest, but I guess that wasn't allowed in the 50s. And now he's hunting down Alex. He's only a second behind, and Alex will obviously know he's there because of the headlights, but you might not know it's him unless you have a look at the timing screen, of course, which I haven't been doing in this race, obviously.
No, it's hard enough to see what's going on the track, let alone...
I know. God, look at that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the vintage, the old camera work is not necessarily helping the situation, but certainly gives a more authentic feel when we're using these classic tracks and the classic cars. I think it's a brilliant touch just to sort of pay homage to the broadcast of the day.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people would agree with that, Stu. And also the selection of these cars on this track is just epic as well, to be honest. I mean, it just suits it so much. Oh, and look, and a mistake as well from Alex, and Big Bad Wolf nearly got through there, but he's having to wait for another chance, I think. Didn't quite make it that time. But yeah, this track and these cars just suit each other so much. And it's so difficult in these conditions too. But I think, look, the spray is maybe decreasing ever so slightly. We might have to wait until it gets a bit lighter to say for sure. But there might be a little bit less spray about.
Yeah, but you'll still have certain parts of the track that will still be covered in water. There'll be plenty of standing water around for a while yet, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. And by the looks of it, especially coming out of that hairpin at the end of the back straight, it looks absolutely treacherous there. Oh, and Alex CDL, he's around. And there's a shunt between the two leaders of the race, and Big Bad Wolf has got through whilst Alex CDL is spun, and that was coming onto the back straight, wasn't it? So he just dropped it basically, didn't he, Stuart?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is a pattern that we start to see with Alex CDL. He is mightily quick, but even looking back at the multi-class endurance we did at Willow Springs, he did double the amount of pit stops as his nearest rival, and his fast lap was a couple of seconds quicker, and yet he still only won the race by a few seconds, over 90 minutes. He really does push it, but obviously you are much more prone to mistakes if you're pushing the envelope that far.
Yeah, definitely, and we saw yourself, Stuart, in that race too. You nearly won that because you just drove a steady race. Didn't quite have the pace of Alex, of course, and that's Cherry Berry. And we're going to see what happened here to Cherry Berry. He just basically decided he didn't like the hay bales on the corner and he wanted to get rid of them and try his hand at farming. And he's managed to get rid of them clearly now, so he's away again. But yeah, Alex CDL, he's an incredibly quick driver, as we've seen over the course, and not just in one type of car either, in all cars. But if he could just cut out some mistakes, he would be very hard to beat indeed. But Big Bad Wolf, of course, he's fast as well, very quick.
Alex is that Big Bad Wolf there? No, I don't think he was.
I'm
but
not sure.
Either way, that was close coming onto on the main straight there.
Someone clearly had an incident on the main straight. Aquaplanes possibly. Big Bad Wolf, there he is. He's still in the lead. Is he?
Yeah, still leading. Yeah, and he's coming down to the hairpin. Has he got his reservations ready for the brakes? I think he's all good.
Yeah, he booked in nice and early. I think you have to book about a lap in advance too.
Yeah, well, he was talking about a good week or so, to be fair, to get that car stopped. They really don't like stop, especially going down that hill.
Definitely, I think. I'm no brake expert, but back in the day, they certainly weren't carbon fibre discs, were they?
No, I mean they just didn't have any help at all. They would get steering wheel and a throttle, and away you go, really.
Yeah, these are, in essence, these are just giant go-karts. I mean, these are basically the same as what we run at West Wales Karting, but faster.
Faster, yeah, I would say.
And more expensive.
Yeah, well, actually, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago. One of these cars that were actually used in Le Mans racing was actually sold for just over $2.5 million. So yeah, they're definitely worth a few bob.
And it's a good thing damage is turned off today. Otherwise, I think we'd have a few $2.5 million repair bills going on. Especially Cherry Berry, he's mounted up a few in this race already, and he's another driver who's very quick as the light starts to come now, and there's definitely a little bit less spray, but as you can see, there's certain parts of the track still puddles. But Cherry Berry, he's proven how quick he is in some of these races, but he's had some incidents in this one, and he's running in 5th at the moment. He's 1 minute 25 seconds off the pace, so we've got 3 laps left to run here of Rouens les Essarts. I pronounced that right, hopefully. Big Bad Wolf is leading by 2 seconds from Alex CDL. Scuderia Sam is in 3rd, but he's 30 seconds away from the lead, and after his early pit stop, and Stuart Davis is 57 seconds back from the leader, so he's about 30 seconds back from Scuderia Sam in 3rd, so that's the fight going on for the podium. But we've got a very close fight going on for the front 2 here, and Cherry Berry is in 5th. Crazy Stewart we're looking at now in the number 44 car is in 6th place, 2 minutes off the lead. Unfixed Roan is 2 minutes 23 seconds off the lead in 7th, and It's Ewan is 3 minutes 14 seconds off the lead. And normally we'd be looking at those times and thinking, that is a lot of time. There's a big gap between last and first place, and we might be wondering whether a driver or two have retired or got disqualified. But actually, in these circumstances, it's entirely plausible, isn't it? I mean, it's a long track, it's challenging, wet conditions. You could easily fall minutes off the lead from a couple of mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. Very reminiscent of how races would have. Another mistake from Alex.
Yeah, he's recovering now. He's falling back a little bit more from Big Bad Wolf. So, what was that, Stuart?
Yeah, very reminiscent of gaps. There would have been before. As you can see, Big Bad Wolf is about to lap Crazy Stewart. Who's after that first lap, he hasn't been particularly quick, but we haven't seen too many mistakes from him. He's a bit of an anonymous race there, for once.
Yeah, Crazy Stewart normally likes getting right in the thick of the action, doesn't he? And making a menace of himself, making himself known to all the other drivers. But he's decided to take a back seat in this one and enjoy the scenery. Probably getting a bit wet, but yeah. And there's Cherry Berry hanging the back end out. But Alex CDL, after that mistake, he's 8 seconds now off the lead with only 1.5 laps or so left to run.
I still wouldn't count him out when he's got the bit between his teeth, and of course Big Bad Wolf's the one with everything to lose now. So Alex CDL's got a big gap behind him. It'll just be balls to the walls. Just see what he can do, I think.
Yeah, he's got nothing to lose, like you say, Stuart, and Big Bad Wolf will really want to win this one, but he'll be thinking in the back of his mind, even though it's not a great thing to do as a driver in the lead, he'd be not wanting to make any mistakes and maybe being a bit cautious in some of the zones, but that's exactly what can make the mistakes happen too, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we saw in our last classic race, myself lost the back end on the Monza Oval with 3 laps to go, and there's Big Bad Wolf. That's he held that very well.
Right on cue there, but yeah, that was incredible car control to handle that. And that curb on the outside there, as we saw Alex getting perilously close to, has been a real, let's just say a lot of fast laps have ended in the graveyard of the outside of that turn.
Yes, flip a few Aston Martins over.
Yeah, a few cars have gone airborne in that corner. And Alex CDL now, look at the time, you're right Stuart, look at this time, he's coming down to under 5 seconds now, so he's crawled back 3 seconds just on the last lap. At this rate, he'll be right on him.
Yeah, and there's still a few patches of water around, but there is a lot of the circuit is dry, so if you can find those right spots, then you can gain lots of times. Again, I think the main straight going up to the finish line, that'll be the main area. If Alex can really gain time there, get past the Big Bad Wolf with his big spuds, and you just never know. You can gain seconds if you pick the right way through the puddles there.
Yeah, and if we're going on to this last lap now with Big Bad Wolf still in the lead with just 1 lap left to go, he'll be hanging those big spuds out all over the track to try and stop Alex CDL from getting past. But Alex CDL might be able to find his way past, we'll see. And it's worth noting that these two drivers are just absolutely in a league of their own in this race. In these changeable conditions, they're pulling away from everyone. Scurrier Sam now third. He was very fast in the dry, but he is 43 seconds off the lead now. It's just he hasn't been able to adapt to these conditions as well, for whatever reason. And you see a lot of drivers going off the racing line there, trying and find the grip off the racing line on the more less rubbered in bit of the circuit. As we go on now onto the main straight to start the last lap, as we see cars just snaking everywhere. And Big Bad Wolf in the number 32 Aston Martin is going to start his last lap in the lead, and we'll see if he can stay there, but it's 4 very long miles left to go, and he's got a back marker to contend with in one of the trickiest bits of the track.
He hasn't been able to lap Crazy Stupot for a good lap and a half now, so yeah, Stupot's obviously got a fair bit of pace. So he's off on the grass, as I say that. And is he going to... Yeah, I think that's Alex in the background there, right behind. Yep, there he is.
Yeah, so Alex got through too. So they'll be relieved that the back marker's out of the way, and now it's just going to be a straight fight, but just over 1 second in it. It's going to be a straight fight to the last half a lap here. This is incredible racing. And Big Bad Wolf, did he go a bit wide there? And now Alex CDL's looking for the grip coming out of the hairpin. He's chasing him. Big Bad Wolf obviously will know he's there. And they'll just be hoping they don't catch a puddle or aquaplane at a wrong moment. And they're just living on their wits, like you said, Stuart.
Yeah, and it's always easier in this situation. You'd much rather be the car being hunting rather than being hunted.
Oh, Big Bad Wolf's made a mistake, and Alex CDL's got him round the outside. Oh, incredible scenes. And Big Bad Wolf slams the wall as well on the outside there as they come onto the main straight, but this is where Alex CDL's been struggling now on this straight, and Big Bad Wolf's going to be in his slipstream. And now he's going to be the car that's chasing, but he hasn't got very much long left to chase for, so we'll see if he'll be able to get him into the hairpin. Is he going to have a lunge from there? You'll have to have one of your classic Stuart lunges if he's going to try and make that one.
Yeah, well, the red mist has come down for the Wolf, so who knows? Yeah, so they'll be hitting a good 150 mile an hour now as they come into the break, breaking a full good 150 metres before the corner. He turned in early, trying to see if he can find a better line going through there. Back end out, and away they go.
That was very nicely done. And Big Bad Wolf is still chasing, but they're coming up to the last corner now, which is normally in the dry is not really much of a corner, but in these conditions it certainly is. But they're both through it. But Alex CDL, he's going to come up to the checker flag as long as he doesn't aquaplane off now. You actually don't know when it's over till it's over during this one, but he's just about made it, and Alex CDL takes the win by just half a second from Big Bad Wolf, and these two have had an incredible race here, so yeah, really, really good race between these two, Stuart, and miles ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, certainly in a league of their own, and yeah, fully deserved. It was a shame Big Bad Wolf lost it on the end there, but yeah, great comeback drive from Alex.
Yeah, definitely. It was all to play for. Either one of them could have won that, to be honest. And Scootery Sam there in third. Stuart Davis come home in fourth. Cherryberry in fifth. Crazy Stewport fell back to sixth. The Unfixed Drone was seventh, and It's Ewan finished in eighth. Fantastic race here. Well, actually, It's Ewan DNF'd.
Yeah, just a difficult race. Yeah, looking forward to the next one.